Scott with sjwellfire.com. We want to do a quick news update. Are the elite planning for a famine August 10th? We'll also cover a solution as well on this front. So I just thought it was interesting. A lot of people have talked about this, but Kissinger, a globalist, you control the oil, control nations, control food, you control the people. And really, you think there's competition in capitalism in the United States. And it's just like the news with, I think, 5 companies running 95% of America's media that's really controlled. Really, 95% of the grain reserves in the world are being controlled under 6 multinational corporations. So are we under control here? What is exactly happening? So Wall Street Journal, back in 2009, Bill Gates and his billionaire cronies got together, and the topic of their meeting was to shrink the world's population, report says. So that's the exact headline from the Wall Street Journal. It's a very, very reputable magazine. So what are they doing, right? We know Gates with his TED Talks has really aggressively gone after shrinking the world's population. And so he's going out and buying farmland. So he's at 242,000 acres of farmland with close to 700 million of assets. And hey, if you think he's a good guy, then we'll never actually have food inflation. It'll be a good thing, right? Just kind of curious. So is the government buying up farmers' production? What is happening there? So let's listen to this guy here. And this is all over the net, by the way. And he actually swears, so I apologize for his language. I'll try to cut it off before he goes there.
So me and my coworker got talking today, and something came up that I didn't really think about when my dad mentioned it to me. He's worked in the agriculture industry for over 40 years. This year, farmers are being offered 1.5 times the value of their crops to destroy them. They're also being told by the federal government they will not receive subsidies for farming if they refuse to destroy their crops. What does that mean? That means that the farmer cannot afford to provide you with food based upon the taxes the government is levying on him if the government doesn't in turn give him back his tax money to provide you with food.
He goes on to swear there. And it is all over the place there on it's all over the news on that, with farmers basically going to TikTok and other different social medias talking about the same thing, showing documents. So do your own research on that. And this is an interesting piece. If Planet X is coming in, I think it is, the world's going to burn. But if it's going to be delayed for a while, we're actually going into a mini ice age. And it's very difficult to find information about sunspots. And so we know that the propaganda for climate used to be global warming. Now it's climate change. Of course, the climate changes, and we're going into a mini ice age. And so from just a cycle perspective, so if these sunspots are disappearing more rapidly than usual, we could be heading into this mini little ice age. And from the early 1600s, they actually experienced it. And there were some warm bodies of water that were frozen still in the summertime, like the Chesapeake Bay, my understanding was frozen. And so this is really going to hit the food supply as this comes about. So pray on it from your perspective to see where that nets out. And then if you look at just the droughts, I think California has 1/5 of the US supply of food or produce in the United States. And it's drying up, water wars, farmers can't feed their crops. I've heard trees are, pecan trees, different trees that have been around for years are dying. Can't just turn that around and start producing again. And, if we're in the sign of the times that I think we are, and great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines and pestilence and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven, right? So be prepared for famines. So the solution basically, and I had a couple dreams about this. I didn't think it would behoove me to just really go deep into them, but become saved, get saved, and God will tell you and show you different places to eat food. But in the meantime, if we have some years to prepare, start planning and building your permaculture edible landscape. Look for ways to do these vertical forests. I highly recommend you search permaculture, edible landscapes, and food forests. It's pretty much the same thing. And they're not these consistent gardens. They just look like woods. So you'll be able to hide your food as well. And they are plentiful. I would highly recommend buying seeds. And then the third point, I've read some testimony of some Christians that were, getting hunted down by ISIS in Syria, and they survived on dandelions for a year. So these pesky little weeds that, they don't taste the best if you don't necessarily have a way to fry them up, but you can eat them and the whole plant. So I think God gave us some provision to be able to survive these times. So again, Scott with sjwellfire.com, we're building that site, and our goal is biblical news, dreams, and teaching. God bless.